Ahoy hoy, and welcome to this week's episode of the DCL Show, the show where we help you navigate the waters of Disney Cruise Line. Hello, everyone. I'm your captain today, Craig Williams, and I'm joined alongside by my co-captains. We have Dreams Unlimited travel agent Elaine Edwards.
Hi, friends.
And we have the senior editor of the DIS and DCLfan.com, Jackie Gailey.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone. We have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to cover some of the recent news with Disney Cruise Line over the past 2 months because, well, it's been about that long since we've had an episode of the DCL show. Apologies for not popping in to talk about Disney Cruise Line for a while, but we just haven't been able to get a good embarkation day planned out, and, well, that day was finally here. So happy to be back with the DCL show. And before we get started, I want to remind you that this is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. If you like our content, you want to support us, book a vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. It costs you no extra money, and you get the support of one of the amazing Dreams Unlimited travel agents like Elaine. And you know what? Costs you no extra money, and they will just help you plan that perfect vacation. So head over to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com today for a free, no obligation quote. And of course, this show and all the shows we do and a lot of the content we produce is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. If you become a Patreon supporter, you get a bunch of exclusive content and so much more, and you help us continue to produce all of the content on the DIS Unlimited network. So head over to patreon.com/DIS Unlimited for more information on how you can support us there. Okay, last thing I do want to mention, because it is related to Disney Cruise Line, is right now Dreams Unlimited Travel has paired up with Give Kids the World for an awesome opportunity for someone to have the chance to win a 4-night Disney Cruise Line vacation for two in a veranda stateroom sailing from Port Canaveral, Florida. So again, this is a 4-night DCL vacation for two in a veranda stateroom sailing round trip from Port Canaveral, Florida. It includes the cruise fare, port charges, and taxes for two passengers. Additional guests can be added for an additional charge based on Disney Cruise Line pricing at the time of booking up to maximum stateroom capacity, and it's valid for any 4-night itinerary sailing from and returning to Port Canaveral, Florida. And this proceeds for all the proceeds for this will go directly to Give Kids the World. And you know that we've had a relationship with Give Kids the World for many, many years, and it is an incredible organization to help support. So it's great that, you know what, you have the chance to win a cruise vacation, and Give Kids the World is going to get all of those proceeds. So the cruise must be booked through Dreams Unlimited Travel, and the sailing must be completed by 12/31/2024. And there's a bunch more details that are in there, but ultimately, you only have until February 19th, 2024 to enter into this contest. We'll have links to this contest in the description, so you'll be able to go directly there. The prize does not include airfare, transportation to and from the port, and several other things, but basically it starts off with one entry for $10 and just goes on up there. You can buy 50 entries if you want. So obviously, it's going to a very good cause, and you could end up having a very amazing vacation for not a lot of money at all. So again, check the link in the description for more information. Okay, now who in this group is ready to talk about DCL news? Yep. Okay. Very, very exciting. So I think we're actually going to start with some of the more recent news and then head backwards and go with that way. And why not start with what I think is the most exciting news of the bunch, and that was getting the new details about Disney, the tale of Moana coming to the Disney Treasure. Now, if you're already tired of me talking, I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to ramble on a little bit here because there's a lot of details with this new show. But, you know, before I start rambling away about it, I want to ask Jackie and Elaine, are you excited about this Moana show? How do you feel about Moana in general? Do you think this is going to be a good fit for the Disney Treasure? Elaine, we'll start with you.
So I think it is perfect. The treasure has just if you look at all of the pictures and the renderings and everything, Moana just fits in seamlessly. We kind of had a hint that this was going to come. Somebody actually informed us a little while ago, and I've been very, very, very excited that this was coming. So Moana is one of my favorite Disney movies, so I'm really excited to see this show.
Yeah, there was that period before they announced it, since they announced the treasure, where it's like, what's going to happen? And like, it only made sense that it was going to be Moana. It's literally a movie about the protagonist just sailing around on waters. Why would you not use that for Disney Cruise Line? And it's like, well, it has to be that, right? And yeah, then I remembered someone's like, I already told you this a while back. I'm like, oops,
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, forgot. Jackie, same question to you, though.
So, Moana is the film that gave us the line where the sky meets the sea, right?
Mhm.
Like, I look at that differently now because I never thought about that before. And I loved Moana from the moment I saw that movie, and it just fits. I mean, with the theme of adventure for the Disney treasure, Moana is on this incredible adventure, and it just hooks you right in from the start. So it's beautiful, and I can't wait to see the show on a stage. I just can't wait. So I think it's the most incredible fit. I think it's the perfect choice, and I couldn't be more excited to see that on stage.
Yeah,
So.
it seems like they have one heck of a show planned that's going to involve a lot of special effects, a lot of puppetry, and let's go over it here. So, Disney: The Tale of Moana will begin in modern day on the fictional island of Motunui, in a set design filled with hints of brilliant cultures of the Pacific Islands that will appear throughout the show. The spirit of Grandma Tala, our narrator, will introduce her granddaughter while through vibrant dance and songs and a mix of languages, including I am not sure how to pronounce a lot of the different languages, so I'm not even going to try here. I know Samoan. We'll learn how the ocean chooses young Moana for an incredible journey to restore the heart of Te Fiti. During How Far I'll Go, the Walt Disney Theater will transform from the island of Motunui into an open ocean as Moana's journey moves her from home to the great voyage that she's longed for her entire life. Twinkling stars will swirl overhead, and a giant glowing manta ray will emerge and soar above the audience as a newfound sense of courage fills Moana. The manta ray is the spirit of Grandma Tala, illuminating the way for Moana on her journey to save her people. Moana and Maui will perform the song Warrior Face for the first time in the stage show when the demigod teaches Moana how to face her fears before entering the realm of the monsters to face Tamatoa. Warrior Face will join the classic favorites from the Grammy award-winning soundtrack in the stage show. So yeah, that's one new song for this show. To create the incredible puppetry that will bring some of the characters to life on stage, Disney Live Entertainment creative director and puppetry and articulation Jeff Conover teamed up with the master puppet designer Michael Curry, whose creations are featured in the Broadway musical Lion King, plus Rivers of Light. Those barges were made by Michael Curry, plus so many other things in theme parks. The massive fiery Taka will be a puppet of a scale The massive fiery Taka will be a puppet of a scale Disney Cruise Line has never before produced. When Moana meets Taka and restores the heart of Te Fiti, the giant Taka puppet will shed its fiery shell and become the gentle island goddess Te Fiti herself. I'm listening to all of this outside of Warrior Face, which I just have a lot of questions about. I think the staging of this show is going to be second to none. I really want to see how Taka is going to somehow turn into Te Fiti just in front of everyone. Man, this sounds like everything that the Little Mermaid show ended up not being on the Disney Wish. Like they're course correcting themselves here.
Yes,
Yeah.
and when you're sitting there talking about how the entire theater would turn into water, like you're in the ocean, like I gasped when you said that because I can picture it. And then talking about the stars, thinking about this is going to be gorgeous. Like, I cannot wait. I need to get on that ship.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm feeling the same way. Like, they immerse us in everything. And so when you hear that that's what they're going to do in the theater, you know that you're just going to be right in there. Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
I can't
God.
wait.
Yeah. I just, I'm very, very excited. On top of everything else that's been announced for the Disney Treasure, just having this stage show on there seems like it's going to be like the cherry on top of the sundae. Very, very exciting. I hate that we have to wait all the way until December of this year, but man, that's going to come faster. I can remember sitting around last year being like, or whatever year the Disney Wish came out. How long has it been now? 2 years ago?
Not last summer, but the summer before.
Yeah. Right? What?
It was when did we go to Alaska? It was right before we went to Alaska. It was the month before.
20. That was 2022. Yeah. So
that was last year.
It's 2024 now. Jeez Louise. I promise you that Jackie and I are better at our jobs than we are trying to remember years, and Elaine is a much better travel agent than that too. So
I can't remember the years, but I can string the events together because I came back from Alaska, unpacked my suitcase, repacked, and then went and got on the Wish. So that's the only reason I can remember.
No, absolutely. But it seemed like that ship, we were waiting so long for it, and then out of nowhere, it's like, it's here. So it's going to feel the same way for the Treasure.
I think so too. And I think even more so because it's not coming in the middle of the year. It's coming right at the end. Yeah. Right at the holidays, I
cannot believe that they are starting with a Christmas sailing. Like, I still not believe that.
Yeah. It's a bold move, but I think it's the right choice to help out, overall with like, if you go too early in the Christmas season, then do you have the expectation of putting up decorations for that cruise? Like, yeah, kind of. But if you go right there at the end, then you don't have to worry about it. If you launch during Halloween or Christmas and say, we're not doing anything, then you're going to have some DCL people who are like, no, you always do it. So why wouldn't you do it now for this? So I think they're smart there. And you know what? Yeah. It's better than waiting until 2025. Having that 2024 in there makes it seem like it's coming just a little bit earlier. So,
I mean, we hope so.
Good point. So the Disney Wish obviously had some struggles with that, but it made it. It made it. So as long as it's in better condition than the Wish was when it launches, easy victory right there.
Good. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure they covered themselves with that too. They probably made it just bumped it out just a little bit more.
I think they did too. I think they did too. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and believe in my heart of hearts that the launch of the Treasure is going to be smoother than the launch of the Wish. I'm calling it now.
Yeah. No, they can't have another Wish happen. So totally agree with both of you. But I do feel like too, while we have the Treasure at the end of the year, we do have something mid-year to get excited about, and that, of course, is Lighthouse Point. And there's been a lot of information released about Lighthouse Point since the last time we've been regularly doing this show. And I'm not going to say I'm excited about Lighthouse Point from what they've announced for it. I just know that if it's going to be on that same level of Castaway Cay, if it's going to have that same Disney magic and feel, then it's going to be a home run for me because I truly look forward to going to Castaway Cay and just relaxing and enjoying that island for what it is. And that's all I want from Lighthouse Point. I know Lighthouse Point is a new, I want to kind of say like a venture for them in a way, because obviously they're really trying to be respectful to Bahamian culture in it and really try to infuse that into the island in a bigger way than Castaway Cay really represents any culture from that area. And I think it's a great plan, but ultimately what I want from a Disney private island, I want clean beaches. I want to be able to see the characters in special costumes. I want okay food. I'll just say that because anyone who thinks that cookies and cookies too is good, I'm like, you might need a lobotomy, because the past couple times I've gone there, I'm just like, how does it keep getting worse over the years? Or it's just hot dogs and hamburgers, but somehow it's terrible. Beyond that, you just want that beautiful, beautiful setting that Castaway Cay delivers. But with Lighthouse Point, there's going to be a lot of aspects for it, including the Goombay Cultural Center that will embody the presence of Junkanoo, a Bahamian festival filled with joyous music and vibrant parades that will come to life in many ways across Disney Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. Goombay is one of the traditional music style of the Bahamas, involving singing, dancing, and drumming. The brilliantly colored cultural pavilion and its Junkanoo-inspired arch will invite guests to embrace the traditions of the Bahamas, along with sights and sounds and spirit of the country's signature festival. There will be family entertainment set to take place on Triton's Trumpet stage, a gazebo that's inspired by one of the stunning natural wonders found in the Bahamian beaches, called Triton's Trumpet. No, it's not just a nod to the Little Mermaid, but at the same time, it is. The Treasures of Eleuthera is the name of the retail shop coming to the island, and the store will feature locally made gifts and artisan crafts, spotlighting Bahamian artists with an array of unique items that families can bring home as a memorable souvenir from their time on the island. They'll have a Serenity Bay that will be a relaxing retreat exclusively for adults 18 years of age and older, and I'm sure it's going to have so much more, including the Mabrika Cove, which is the welcoming area, and Mabrika means welcome in Taino, the language of the Lucayans. I believe that's how it's pronounced, the indigenous people of the Bahamas. So very, very exciting. So much to look forward to. And then, of course, too, we got a first look at what Mickey and Minnie will be wearing on the island, because they are going to have brand new costumes. They're specially designed by acclaimed Bahamian fashion designer Theodore Eyelet. The garments will have a distinct Bahamian flair inspired by the bright, colorful spirit of Junkanoo, the country's signature festival filled with joyous music and vibrant parades. Theodore will also design special styles for Donald and Daisy Duck, Goofy, Pluto, Chip and Dale to wear while enjoying the natural beauty of Disney Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. So very, very interesting. So I doubt they'll give Jack Sparrow a special costume. Who knows if they'll include Jack Sparrow at all in this area. I'd be okay if they left Pirates of the Caribbean out of this area. But I'm very excited to see this new island, but it's going to have to be pretty incredible to take away Castaway Cay from my number one top spot in the island. Right now, I just need to figure out, am I going to call it Lookout Cay or am I going to call it Lookout Cay? I never know.
I think it's Lookout Cay. I think it's officially Lookout Cay.
But they say that, and then everyone will still say K as well too. It's going to be the argument, a tale as old as time.
I just keep calling it Lighthouse Point. I haven't even switched over to calling it Lookout Cay yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, the entire title is Lookout Cay. Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point in the Eleuthera Islands. Lookout Point.
Yeah.
So my opinion on this is that I think it's not going to be an exact replica of Castaway Cay, and I think that's a good thing. I think they are going to take what people love about Castaway Cay and they're just going to 10x it, is what I'm kind of hoping for here. They're setting it so that it is culturally appropriate to where it's going to be. They're talking about how you can buy things made by local artisans. They're going to have this cultural center. They're going to have entertainment. They are theming the decor, the costumes, all of that. So I think it's going to be great because you're not getting just Castaway Cay Part 2. You're getting a completely different beach to go to. And these sailings that they have next year, where you are hitting both of the beaches in one sailing, that's a sailing to be on, because that's going to be just stuff. Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good stuff. I'm so excited about it because I just am the excitement of having a brand new place. I mean, none of it was developed. And so they're developing this from the ground up with all of these local people. And it gives me the same vibes that Aulani gave me when they were building that. And they were bringing in people that were local and bringing in the history of the island. And I think it's really cool that they're using people from the Bahamas to help them get that infused into the island. And so I love the idea that there's going to maybe be entertainment throughout the day periodically. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I just think that that's the coolest thing. And I love that a famous Bahamian designer worked on the costumes. I think that's just absolutely so cool. And I'm just tickled by all of that. And I can't wait to see how it is all laid out. And I mean, it's a beach in the Bahamas. It's going to be gorgeous. So it's just going to be I can't wait to have another destination to go to that's not like a regular Nassau. I can't wait to have another private island destination. And like Elaine said, oh my gosh, can you imagine going to both islands on the same cruise?
Well, and that's what I say, like they've got some that are this year, but specifically looking at early 2025, they have, now that the Treasure is taking the Fantasy's place, the Fantasy is doing these like 4 and 5 nights hitting both islands. I mean, for people that haven't had a chance to experience the Fantasy yet, because maybe they couldn't or didn't want to do a 7-night cruise, this gives them that opportunity. They get to see both. I mean, it's fantastic. Like there are a lot of good cruises scheduled. So
yes.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I do like that this new island feels like it has more of a permanence to it. Not that Castaway Cay feels like makeshift in a way, but I mean, when you're standing at that top deck and you're watching them reset everything for the next people coming in and realizing that, they're getting on boats and getting out of there as soon as it's all finished, like it kind of ruins that magic where this could be a home for people in the Bahamas, and they're welcoming you into their home with it. And I like that aspect of it. But I mean, we're looking at concept art right now and reading press material on it. It'll be different once you go there and actually get a feel for it. But we will
very
have
strong opinions then.
Yes, listen, I don't think it's going to beat Castaway Cay for me, but I just, I hate the ocean. I hate beaches, but that place it has a hold on me. So I'm happy I found at least one great place.
Like, do we know any kind of just like the technical, like, is this like a 99-year contract or anything like that?
I don't think I've heard anything, but I'm sure it's for a very long time. So to make sure that if they're having a stake in this island, then the Bahamian people probably want to make sure that, they're going to be infusing money into it for a long time. So.
Right. I just didn't know, because I know that, a lot of times those kind of things are in place. So
yeah.
I'm sure it's out there.
Oh, yeah.
The internet will find it. And then you can put it in the comments below and let me know.
Right. Yes, somebody out there knows.
But here's the thing, and you're going to like my transition on this one. Sometimes, we have all those details that are written down and seem like they're going to be a guarantee forever. And then out of nowhere, there's just changes. And it's like, nope, actually, that wasn't the case. And that was the case back in December when Disney Cruise Line managed to piss off quite a bit of people out there when they changed the kids club's ages specifically for the Oceaneer Club and Lab, and they made the bold move with very, very little notice that all of a sudden, it's been 3 to 12 for as long as I've been cruising, and I'm sure even longer than that. And they're like, psych, actually, as of right now and the next sailing coming up, it's going to be 3 to 10 years of age. And then Edge will be, still available to 11 to 14, and Vibe is available for 14 to 17. But those 11 to 12 years, sorry, you can come and visit during open house and enjoy it then. But beyond that, 3 to 10 for Oceaneer Club and Lab. And man, obviously it doesn't impact me right now, and it won't impact me for a while, but I would have been so incredibly aggravated. I'm sure a lot of people still are, even if their cruise wasn't booked out for another couple months and they already went through that final payment, to then know that their kids have been looking forward to these clubs for the longest time, and now they're pushed up into the next one without any real say in it. Man, that was kind of a move. I think Disney should have given them a little bit more time and notice with it, but I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. What's, as parents of older kids that might have a little bit more input on it, what do you think about this, Elaine and Jackie?
So, I mean, what you said at the beginning of the story is correct. This just really made a lot of people mad. I mean, a lot of people we can understand, because of the age range of kids in that club is so large. But they do such a good job of kind of steering the kids towards the areas and activities that are appropriate for them, and keeping those specific kind of little tiny segmented age groups within the club in activities that they like and that kind of thing, and planned activities and that kind of thing. But this really did make a lot of people very, very mad when you're talking about not just siblings that are traveling together and maybe they don't want to be split apart, but when you're talking about multiple families traveling together, when kids are traveling with like their cousins or they've got friends and they just happen to straddle that age difference and now they're split apart, like, it can definitely make a big impact on the enjoyment of their cruise. So
yeah, I felt bad when they announced it, because I wanted them to explain to go more into why they were making that decision. Just simply because people need that information when they talk to their kids, so that they can present it to not have a complete nightmare on their hands when they board that ship. I mean, everybody wants the excitement when they're getting ready to go on a Disney cruise. So when you're a parent and you feel the tension and the apprehension that your child is having, that's not fun when you know it's because of a change that was made after you had a chance to be able to do anything. And so, especially for kids that have been on the cruises before, like for families who have never cruised, it would be easier to kind of, I'm not saying it's easy, because I know that it wouldn't be, but it would be easier for a family who's never cruised to kind of explain that a little differently. But for kids that are used to being in those kids clubs from the time they were 3, to all of a sudden, you don't have 2 more years in these clubs. You're out now. See you later. Like, that's rough.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you didn't pre-plan anything, but let's say for like that 11 year age where you booked the cruise the year before when they're 10, and you said they're huge Marvel and Star Wars fans, so they're on one of the ships with either the Millennium Falcon or the Marvel section, and you're showing them videos and photos of, look, you're going to be able to meet the Marvel characters in there, and you're going to be able to pilot that, and then a change like this happens and all of a sudden they're forced into the next one up and be like, well, you can enjoy it when there's open house and it's even more overrun. But for some people, some families, I know it's not going to be everyone. You could be potentially taking, a year or longer of planning and excitement and anticipation and just flushing it away. And I know it's not going to be for everyone and that's not going to impact everyone, but yeah, I'm sure that happened to some people, and I'm sure that it has to deal with overcrowding, that these spaces are not big at all. And you're hitting such a massive age range that is like the chief demographic, I think, of bringing kids onto a Disney cruise. And there's only so much room for all of them. And yeah, it makes sense to take that tween age and extend it a little younger and be like, no, we actually need you to be up in that club now. We don't have room for you anymore at the end. So I'm assuming it's that.
I
mean, it was nice when they had the overlap. It really was nice that they had the overlap, and you could essentially let the child decide, like, do you feel more comfortable here with kids that are older for you and advanced things, or do you feel more comfortable here? Even if you have a kid that falls in there and they have special needs, and maybe they are more comfortable in the younger club. So
that's the thing.
Rough.
Like my oldest nephew is 11. And he'll be 12 at the beginning of March. And if he was on one of these cruises, this would be a deal breaker, because in his mind, he is the biggest Star Wars fan I've ever seen in a child. And in his mind, this would be a complete, I don't want to go anymore. And so, and I know that because I talked to my sister-in-law about it, and I was like, let's say we had a big family cruise. How would you feel about this? Just to sort of get an idea. And she said this would be a deal breaker for him. Like, I'm not even sure if we could even convince him to still go at this point, because he's the kid that Craig described, watching the videos on YouTube, seeing that Millennium Falcon. I mean, like, he would be waiting with bated breath, and to all of a sudden learn that he had no choice and could only go there during an open house, he wouldn't even want to go. So I feel for the people who have had that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Disney Cruise Line forcing people to just go on Disney cruises and accept it, they also made another bold decision back in December with the Castaway Club membership. And basically, if you don't know, Castaway Club is their loyalty program that starts as soon as you hit your first cruise, and you keep building all the way up until you get to that Pearl status. If you have unlimited amounts of money that I apparently don't have, I'm happy just settling for my platinum for the very near future and for the rest of my life. But essentially, it with all loyalty programs, it kind of feels like, for the most part, once you start, you're fine, you're in it, and you're sticking with it. And then DCL said, actually, we're making some changes, and that if you don't book or sail on at least one eligible cruise within the last 5 years of your last Disney cruise, then you could be dropped from the Castaway Club plan. Because that was in some of the fine details too. Like, you can always talk to Disney and see if they'll do it, because I feel like they had to include something like that in there. What if you were on 30 cruises and then you just took a break from DCL for a while, and all of a sudden, nope, you fall out of that program? Like, that would be such a crappy thing to do. And I get it though. If they're having too many people grow too rapidly, rather than making the restrictions harder for how many cruises you need to be for getting into those tiers and all of that, put in something like this with a time limit. Lose your frequent flyer status after so long if you don't keep flying. I get it, but it just came out of nowhere. And I will say, from reading the Facebook group, the DCL fan Facebook group, it actually impacted a lot of people who are like, I haven't been on, I'm a platinum or I'm a gold member and I haven't been on a cruise in over 5 years. This kind of stinks. So, man, they were like really out in December to make these wild moves.
Yeah.
So we did get a little bit more information about it. One of our Dreams agents did find out that, so if you have your status and then 5 years pass and then you've fallen off of status, once you book another cruise and you complete that cruise, it kind of like reactivates your castaway status, is what we have been told. So you're not losing it forever. It can be reactivated. You just like have that little one that you don't get your benefits on and that kind of thing. Now, what we don't know is like when all of this starts or how far back they're going. Like, if today I have not sailed in 5 years, do I have no status today? Or is it like from this point forward? That I don't have all of the answers on yet. We just haven't been able to get a lot of information about it. So I think they haven't fully fleshed everything out, and it's kind of a case by case basis kind of a situation.
Yeah. Oh, I could totally see it as just being like a threat thing. Like, if you don't cruise, you could lose this. And I even get, it's just like, I know, like, if with some companies that have service awards after serving so many years, if you leave and come back, then, sometimes they'll be like, okay, well, we'll bring you back in where you were before and not ding you too much in that way. So kind of the same thing with this, but at the same time too, I wouldn't trust it until you know for a fact. I mean, you book that one cruise and they say, no, you're back in, and then you don't book another cruise for 2 years. Who knows? Maybe they'll be like, well, no, we allowed you back in thinking that you would keep booking, and now that you didn't, you're out once again. So it seems like I don't trust anything with it. At the same time, I think that it's not going to impact a ton of people. I mean, again, there were definitely people that were afraid of it from the DCL fan Facebook group, but at the same time, as a Disney Cruise Line fan, I can't imagine going 5 years without a cruise, unless you fall on really hard times or it's just not for your family anymore. I can see it in those instances, but and I am also biased with just having a 1 hour drive to the port, so I get it.
Well, and there are a lot of people that come to me and are booking with me, and it's essentially their first cruise, but they're silver because when they were a kid, their parent took them on a cruise. But they haven't necessarily been on a cruise in 15 years, but they have been on because they have that silver number, but it's essentially their first cruise. So
wow.
I almost wonder if maybe instead of this being a hard and fast rule, that maybe this is just, we're putting this language in here so that we have the option to use it if we want to. I don't know that. I'm just wondering if maybe that's what it is. Kind of like how, even though many of the restrictions that we had at Walt Disney World during the time after the reopening with COVID, how many of that has gone away, there's still a lot of that language that stays in there, and talking about how, even though not everybody has to make park reservations, there are still some people that have to make park reservations, and they talk about the parks could be limited. No, they're not. And, they still have kept a lot of that language in there. So I think it's just kind of protecting themselves.
Yeah, I still have to click the COVID waiver with my annual pass every single time. I'm like, how is this still part of this? So
people are still getting COVID. So that's what it is. I guess.
No one here.
No, not at all.
No. Too funny. Goodness. Jackie, do you have any input on this before we move on to our final little bit of an update?
Not particularly. I think it's just, I guess I do have just a little, is that I agree with what you guys are saying about loyalty programs. I think that I think that any loyalty program has to say, hey, we haven't seen you in a while. If you want to keep your status, come on down. I think that because of its popularity, I think that there's a lot more platinum members in the world than I could ever have imagined. And so once you reach that, it's, sort of a now what, what's next. And so I think that it makes sense to have people have to put in the investment to keep that status. It only seems right. So,
No, I completely agree with you. One, especially with like that platinum group, at some point you have to start looking at Paulo and being like, oh man, we're half of the cruise is eating at Paulo for free right now because we have so many platinum people on board. This is not as smart financially. I'm sure it's all factored in and washes out, but
Absolutely.
it's it could be worse. It could have been a bold decision like Delta made and was like just when they changed theirs and really, really, really pissed off a lot of people. So
yes, and I'm sitting here as of the date we are taping the show. I have 2 days left on my Delta status before it is no more, and it falls off because I did not meet my minimums last year.
I'm sorry. I barely got mine. So but I don't know if I don't have big plans for this year. So now that it's all MQDs, I don't think I'm going to hit it. Even with my credit card, only having to do like $2,000, $3,000. That's a lot of travel for someone that, only usually goes on cheap flights to California. So
right. And that's
maybe
the thing.
John will
like
send us to a European
I use my
Disney
Delta
cruise.
card to rack up my points and then use my points to book my flights. So I'm not actually paying for my flights. So Yep, I just barely missed mine as well. So I should have just taken a last minute flight in December. Who knows?
Yeah, I forced Rhino to do that, and he turned out well with that. So we learn from our mistakes of the past, and we'll see how it fixes it for the future. But Elaine, why don't you talk about the 50% off deposit for us here before we wrap things up?
Yes. So if all of these things we have talked about sound great and you are ready to book your next cruise, Disney Cruise Line is offering a 50% off reduced deposit right now. This is for bookings through February 16th is the last date you can book this. You can travel through May 31st of 2025. So basically anything that's available to book right now, you can use this discount or this promotion for the reduced rate. And this cannot be combined with anything else. So if you have a placeholder that you're going to convert to the cruise, this doesn't combine with that. Or like if you're booking like a VGT or anything like that, you still have to pay in full. That kind of fun stuff. There's always terms and conditions, but it is a really, really good promotion that a lot of people really like to take advantage of, especially we're coming off of Christmas. Everybody's ready to, what is that next big thing that I can look forward to? It's my vacation. Might as well save a little money right now in your booking. So you can always reach out to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com and our agents will take care of you and get that 50% off reduced deposit on your reservation.
Thank you very much for running us through that and take Elaine's advice. Take advantage of it. So not a lot of time left for it, but it's squeak it in there. You have all that, you have all that anxiety of leaving the holiday season and starting January off and being, like, oh, I'm in the cold somewhere and I want to get away to somewhere warm. Start thinking about that. Let it percolate in the back of your brain and get away to somewhere that's absolutely beautiful on a Disney cruise. But that's it for our little news recap over the past couple months. I want to say thank you very much to Elaine and Jackie for joining me in this discussion. So thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. You're very welcome. If you enjoyed our content here today and you want to support us more, book a vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. Again, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. And of course, if you want to support us more, you can through Patreon, patreon.com/DISUnlimited. If you were watching this on YouTube and you want to support us, first off, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and then leave comments, questions, and video suggestions in the comments section. If you are listening to this, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us good ratings and reviews when possible. But that's going to do it for this week's DCL show. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope we helped you get inspired to take that next DCL vacation. And yeah, I hope you have a great week. And I just want to remind you before we go that the only way you can get to Castaway Cay is by Disney Cruise Line. See ya.